Hello everyone, this is Crota giving you a shoutcast between OGS's Hero versus OGS's the STC. Hero spawning as the blue Protoss player under the name Liquid Hey-Pro, and yeah, it is a little bit confusing. I know I will get tongue-tied a couple of times, but Hero spawning as the blue Protoss player on the south side of the map. Meanwhile, we have OGS the STC spawning on the north side of the map as the red Terran. So this is Terran versus Protoss here in the Xel'Naga Caverns. This series has been great so far. I am looking forward to casting as many more games as there are matchups here, as Hero currently has, I believe, if you don't want a spoiler announcement, but yeah, 2-1 lead in this series. I'm not going to tell you and let you guys know how many games there are in this series as I upload them, so you won't be spoiled either. Currently, we still have the Hero just mining away with a couple of probes, not too much out of the ordinary. It looks like it will be standard builds coming in from both sides of the map. You can see the STC setting up that supply depot first, and we'll see whether or not he goes for an early command center again. He has gone for that early command center a couple of times, and I believe, yes, he is going to go for an earlier racks instead of command center, just because this is a 1v1 map with only 2 spawning locations. Trying to go for a very early aggressive command center on a map like this usually doesn't pay off because your opponent knows exactly where you are, can scout you quickly, and also has a relatively short walking distance, similar to Steps of War. If you guys did not know, the latter map pool has recently changed. So I believe Steps of War has now been removed, and I believe the Xel'Naga Caverns and the Scrap Station are the only 2 1-1 maps, or 2 spawning location 1v1 maps now, as Peppy the Probe just wanders around on the inside. You can see a Marine currently being trained. Refinery is currently getting some gas as well, so it doesn't look like STC wants to do any mass mineral mining at this stage in the game. And SCV now on the move from STC, so STC will be able to make its way down over here in just a moment. You can see the cybernetics core currently being warped in, and now going for that very tricky second assimilator. So I really like Protoss's opening off of the second assimilator, because as a Terran player, you really still don't know what he's going for. He could be going for a lot of sentries off of this double gas, which would allow him to save up enough minerals in order to do a fast expand. So just because you see double assimilators early on, you do not know what exactly the strategy is. It forces the Terran player or the Zerg or your opponent to essentially come back and do some more scouting. We've seen mass sentries off of a 4-gate. We've seen a lot of sentries into an expansion, so we'll see what exactly Hero is trying to do in this particular instance. Not getting any additional production buildings just quite yet, just getting a Stalker now. The Cybernetics core has been completed, so I'm assuming as soon as we see another production building, we will start to see the strategy of what Hero is trying to go for. A bunker now being placed down here, as it is going to be a very aggressive style of play. You can see a Zealot and a Stalker now activating both Xel'Naga watchtowers as we go into a Forge. Alright, so a Forge this early normally means to me that it is going to be an armor research with gateways and mass sentries. Sentries with that Guardian shield and +1 Protoss armor makes it very difficult for a Terran player to try to counter gateway units just with Marines and Marauders. You can see now perhaps a command center are going to be placed down. No, an SCV now on its way out. More Marines and Marauders are still being trained. Stim pack now being researched as a Stalker is chasing after this SCV. The SCV, one more shot, down it goes. So the Stalker able to catch up to that unit there, as now we are going to see perhaps a Nexus coming in from Hero. Still a lot of sentries still being trained off of gateways, and we are going for the arm or the weapons upgrade. So I take that back. It is going to be a fast weapons upgrade, not a fast armor upgrade like I had originally predicted. And perhaps he doesn't know the power of mass sentries with that +1 armor upgrade that is very effective against early Terran, as Terran Marines only deal 3 damage per attack, and then Marauders only deal 3 or 7 damage per attack against a Zealot, and especially if they don't have that concussive shell. One Marauder low on hit points there, and now Marines and Marauders on the move. You can see that there is still this probe. The probe could be placing down a Nexus, and he decides against this. I like this decision making to not go for that Nexus and instead opt to go for more sentries. So yeah, a lot of sentries now being trained. Those sentries are enough in order to place down a force field and block that ramp. and for quite a large amount of time, killing off many of those Marines and Marauders. Command Center is now being placed down by the STC, so STC does have a very, very strong advantage now in that he has an earlier command center. More sentries are still being warped in, and now as I see this mass sentry army, I'm starting to wonder why he did not go for that armor upgrade. Armor upgrade would help him out tremendously, but also +1 weapons upgrade does help out a lot as well. We'll see what's going to be happening here as these sentries move out. And oh, I didn't even know sentries also have a base 1 armor. I believe that's the only light unit that actually has a base 1 armor. Anyways, back into the game, we can currently see a probe activating this Xel'Naga watchtower here, command center being upgraded. So STC wanting to get perhaps a reactor onto this factory in just a moment for that starport, and we'll be able to move out in just a little bit. Engineering bay is now down. Marines and Marauders quickly using a stim pack, chasing after that probe and taking it down there. Still no reactor, so it looks like he will be single training units off of that starport for a little bit of time. And one missile turret that is 13 hit points away from being completely built, just sitting there, and it looks like, yes, finally STC realizes this. SCV gonna start working for just a little bit, and now it has been completed. Back here we have an SCV perhaps trying to do a little bit of scouting, and we'll see that the Nexus has been completed. So he no longer has that much of an advantage. The SCV does scout out this Nexus. Sentries and Stalkers now trying to chase down this SCV. The Sentries may get in the way of the Stalker though. SCV trying to run for its life, should be able to get some distance as that Stalker continues to give chase. Gonna run, however, straight into another Stalker, and that SCV is not long for life as it gets shot down there. You can see back in the natural expansion of the STC, currently mining with 3 mules, getting a stronger economy going, but is going to face the Colossus of Hero in just a moment. 3 racks, reactor onto the starport, factory now in the air, perhaps going to do some scouting in just a moment as those units, as that factory is able to lift off. No, going to land here, perhaps get a tech lab and perhaps get some siege tank research as well. Marines and Marauders now looking around, making sure that there are no proxy pylons inside or anywhere nearby, and making sure that he can perhaps push back against this, what is going to be a very large army. Now you can see a lot of gas invested into Hero's army, as there are a lot of sentries in that group there. SCV now trying to run away once again. We can see that there is an observer right here at the base. There is no missile turret down here, but there are a lot of bunkers, and those bunkers will offer a decent amount of protection for those Marines and Marauders until Colossus have been completed with the extended thermal lance range. Protoss ground armor dangerously close to getting completed, and unless the STC starts getting that weapons upgrade, his units are not going to be able to deal any significant damage at all. The timing on this attack will be absolutely perfect. If the ground armor is completed before the weapon upgrade is completed, he can essentially push into here, taking reduced damage from those Marines and Marauders while dishing out more with the natural upgrades on the sentries and those zealots. It looks as though, however, Hero doesn't want to push out with his stronger army just quite yet. It is much better armor upgraded, also has much more tech involved, but I guess the 4 bunkers, he doesn't want to try to trade armies against bunkers. Bunkers are relatively inexpensive and add a lot of life and durability to those Marines and Marauders. One Colossus should already be ready. Extended thermal lance range now being completed. There's that lone Colossus there, as the Marines and Marauders take down these destructible rocks. As soon as those rocks go down, command center may be built over here. And did he accidentally shoot one of his own units? No, it looked like it for just a moment, but no, in fact he did not. There is an observer close by, so he sees that there is an expansion attempt here. The rocks now shot down there, observer giving chase, and now the medevacs with a couple units going to quickly unload, scanner sweep against that one observer there. It has been taken down, and the medevac still has a couple units. Back here, 4 stalkers perhaps ready to intercept a drop. This would be a prime drop an anti-drop location. If STC wanted to drop these stalkers, 4 stalkers can intercept a drop and shoot it down with relative ease because of how fast those stalkers move compared to a dropship. Also, the medevacs, also the 6 range doesn't hurt at all. You can see the Colossus now still being trained, with level 1 weapons upgrade now being completed as well, in addition to Vikings being built. So both sides still getting the proper counter units, but with Hero now with the Twilight Council, he should be able to get a lot of damage in with that Stalker Blink and that Zealot charge. Zealot's now trying to come in. You can see the Marines trying to run away, but they are going to have a very difficult time, as those Marines are going to have to try to run up and down the cliffs over here. There's one poor probe. That probe will get shot down. And now the Marines walking up back onto that high ground. One swipe from that Colossus. Down goes one Marine, down goes another. Both in a fiery death. SCV trying to walk in, pretty much able to see inside the base. It is going to be 3 gateways with more gateways underway. So it is going to be 1 robotics facility coupled with more and more gateways. And it looks like the Twilight Council not researching Stalker Blink and also getting the level 2 ground upgrade. Colossus are going to be absolutely powerful now, especially as there is no armor upgrades at all on those ground units. 3 Colossus with Stalker support, Stalker Blink, sentries on the ground with that Guardian Shield, able to protect the Colossus from taking too much damage. 4 armor means that these Vikings will only be dealing after the Guardian Shield, that those Vikings will only be dealing 10 or 20 damage per round of attack. So it will take a much longer time for these 7 Vikings to try to even shoot down one of these Colossus here. As these units are now on the move, is the Guardian Shield going to be activated? No Guardian Shield just quite yet. Stalker's now trying to get a little bit further. More Vikings continuing to join this Viking ball here. And now that Viking group being very careful to stay closely and tightly packed together in order to get a round of attack onto this Colossus. Level 2 weapons upgrade now nearing completion, as we have a Nexus being warped in on the low ground. So both players now establishing their third base. Medevacs in the air, missile turrets still on the ground. Weapons upgrade is still 1-0, now getting the 2-0 upgrades. And this is going to be a very dangerous game by both players. It's really going to boil down to who is able to engage first. Stalkers now trying to get some damage. Oh, 1 Colossus has been taken down. Force fields now coming in. Those Colossus need to be very careful as they're getting shot down left and right. Colossus, however, giving chase, and now more force fields. So mass force fields coming in and preventing any serious escape. Vikings now trying to come in but unable to do so. Not enough range as those Colossus able to just barrel through these force fields as they are massive units. Sentries and now Stalkers continue to give chase. We had to have a missile turret and now more Vikings coming in. The Guardian Shield is now up. 1 Colossus now down. A second Colossus, no, not getting turned around, not engaging here. This 1 Colossus with that 9 range still alive as those Vikings are now trying to go after this 1 Colossus. Colossus is in a very decent position now. Stalkers are now blinking in between the 2 armies, and it looks as though Hero should be able to simply attack move with this superior force and finish off this game. Production-wise, 3 Vikings, level 3 weapons upgrade. SCVs coming off the mineral line, but that's more of a desperation attempt there, especially as there's now a force field on the ramp, making it difficult for any reinforcements. The Colossus finally taken down, but this Stalker sentry ball, still so powerful, going to be able to finish off and clean up this expansion in just a moment. And now you can see that STC is just on his final base here. No gas even being mined out of this location. Just a skeleton crew of SCVs mining off of them in the main base. Getting some gas though, so that should help out. Another Nexus has been placed down at the natural expansion. And yeah, things are just looking very strong for Hero. Hero now engaging once again. Vikings in ground mode in a desperate attempt to try to save and salvage this fight with his army. The Vikings, however, getting stuck on the wrong side of force fields, unable to act as a very effective ball at all. And now the Stalkers and Sentries pulling away once again. So this army of units still very powerful, and a much larger army indeed. Marines and Marauders now coming in as SCVs. And looking to see what they can do. SCVs perhaps being transferred back to the main base in order to mine out that location. 1 factory in the air still, offering a little bit of scouting and an early warning system as SCVs trying to repair the rest of these Vikings and Medevacs. This is not going to look good at all. Stalkers are upgraded 2-1 and now almost upgraded 3-1. 8 Stalkers were being warped in, so that is going to be a much larger army, 1,000 mineral army being warped in just 5 seconds. And now you can see how quickly those Stalkers just shoot down and take down a Viking. Stalkers with Stalker Blink able to just focus down multiple units. Stalker or Vikings now getting Terran apart, and there's the GG coming in from the STC. So OGS's Hero takes game 4 in this best of 5 series, winning 3-1 against OGS, the STC. Great games, great matchup. If I had to recommend any of the games, I would say definitely watch Game 1 in this series. That was a very impressive play by Hero. Hero completely turned the standard 4-gate upside down and was able to effectively shut down STC's fast expansion, even though he did have a decent sized army. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I hope you guys enjoyed this 1v1 replay and this 4-game set between Hero and the STC.